And we are live. All right, everybody, you guys know what it is. It's the one and the only American Cholo podcast, broadcasting live directly from North Hollywood, California. My name is Gil, and I am the American Cholo. Today is the 2nd of July, 6:11 p.m. to be exact. And we're going to talk about health, man. Not that I don't need it. I think a lot of us need it. This is a gentleman who actually has been tapping in on the phone calls, has always had great conversation, and that's the beauty of the internet. Sometimes this is the good part of it, that we could actually make certain connections. And I'm proud to introduce you, Mr. Gabriel Chavez. How are you, my man?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you for having me, Gil. Appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. Now, let's give people a little bit of history about you before we get into the health world. Like the area you grew up with, who you were born. A little bit about that.
Sure, I'll be happy to share that. But before we do, is it okay if I say a little invocation, a short prayer?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Heavenly Father, thank you for this opportunity to fellowship with Gil. We ask you, Heavenly Father, to lift up Gil and lift up all the people in this community, everybody who's listening to this, either live or in the future. We pray for them. We pray for their families. And I ask you, Heavenly Father, to send your Holy Spirit to guide me, to choose my words, all of you and none of me. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right.
Okay.
Now we get started.
All right. Okay, so I got turned on to you by my homeboy from Bassett. He's here right now. He said, hey, Gabby, you got to check out this vato, American Cholo. He's talking politics, brother. and the reason why he told me to check you out is because, I've been in and out of office myself. I've held public office. But, growing up in the neighborhood, as I told you when I called in, from Bassett.
Yes, sir.
Back in the day, it was Gabby from Big Bassett.
Ándale, Bassett Grande.
Yeah,
Nothing major?
No, I never walked away from the neighborhood. I still go back once in a while, Unfortunately, now it's just for either funerals or something like that,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But we still stay in touch. And from there, got married, started focusing on being responsible.
Right, being a man.
Yeah, being a productive member of society, as all should be.
Yes, sir.
I realized that, hey, you know what? If you have kids, your priorities shift. It's no longer about fixing up the ramfla and, putting the nice rims and the bump and stereo system.
Right.
It's about buying that baby crib and the baby furniture and the everything that kids need, of course.
Responsibilities.
Yeah. And then what got me involved in the community is being a small business owner. I got into running a small little battery business with my father. I realized the importance of giving back. But more important than that, I used to have some guys or some of the neighborhood guys come and say, hey, Holmes, I'm trying to open up a business, a little tire shop. And the city's giving me a bunch of grief. They want setbacks. They want environmental impact reports. They want a conditional use permit. What the hell's all that? So I said, you know what? Well, let me see what I can do. And that's when I realized we need to have advocacy inside City Hall. For the little guy. If you're building a big project, if it's a AM, PM store on the corner, they've got the resources. They can hire the architects, the engineers. They've got the deep pockets for whatever the city is requiring.
Right. They got guys rushing the civils, got the plans ready and all that stuff.
Exactly. But if you're going to open up Gil's little tire shop on the corner, you probably just have enough money to buy your inventory, let alone meet all the city requirements.
Right. So
that's how I got involved in politics and serving the community.
Okay, and when you got involved in politics, is there anything that surprised you out of it, or was it did what you thought was going in was what it was?
Well, the only thing that surprised me is different uniform. I went from wearing a Pendleton to wearing a coat and tie, but the game is still the same.
Yes, yes, Gabby. That's what I try to emphasize on the channel over here, and people sometimes take it a certain way and wrong sometimes when I equate the gang life with politics. When I say, listen, this is the big homie owner here, this is how this is. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get people who are not savvy in politics to kind of see what I'm seeing, and then they're like, oh, that's what that means, Yeah, so, like Trump and Biden, we won't get into their politics right now, but those are two big homies in the yard. They're fighting for the yard right now. And who do you want? Do you want the guys kind of on the weak side? Just on stuff like that to get even young people like, oh, because, unfortunately in our community, the street politics, to them, they think it's the biggest thing in the world, but the street politics in the real world is way down here, and the real politics is up there. And that's what makes you keep the lights on, you know, like where the stop signs go, how much your taxes cost. The politics directly affect every single one of us.
Right. And what you're referring to is the policies.
Yes.
You know, how are they going to pay and fund the street lights, the parks,
Yes.
the community centers, etc. But behind the scenes is where the politicking goes on.
Yes, there
You know,
go.
if you're going to serve on a city council, you need to know how to counsel.
You're right.
Because in our system of government, it's a parliamentary form of government. So if you've got 5 people on a city council, it takes 3 votes to get anything done.
Right.
So if you're not politicking with your other 2 homies there to get things done, you're out. You're the odd man out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's kind of the same thing in the neighborhood. You know, if you're not in agreement with the fellas, you're out.
Exactly. So, and we'll eventually one day get back to all that part of the conversation.
Yeah.
But today's conversation, we're gonna focus on health,
Yes.
right? How did you get involved in the health talk?
Okay, real quick. After watching my brother wither away and die from pancreatic cancer, you know, when you see a family member in that condition, you feel helpless. Quite frankly, I don't like to use the word impotent, but you feel impotent.
Right.
Because you can't do anything, you know? So that feeling of being impotent to help your brother, just watching him wither away and die, motivated me to figure out there's got to be something here. And at the same time, shortly thereafterwards, my elderly mom and dad, who passed away at 96, both of them started to have ailing health. Right. So I became their caretaker. And I realized that if I'm going to be taking care of them, I better figure out what's going on. So I got involved in learning and figuring things out, but then I enrolled in a program for holistic health with the National Institute of Holistic Health on the East Coast. They're out of New York, but it's a online program, so I didn't have to go back to the East Coast. Just a nice program to get educated on what we call nutraceuticals. Because the traditional medical industry, and I'm not here to bag on the medical industry, you know, they do what they do, but the traditional medical industry focuses on pharmaceuticals. Yes. They don't really focus on keeping you well. They focus on managing your dilemma, whatever that is, whether it's high blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol. Everybody can relate to that. But there's not one pill that cures cholesterol or high blood pressure or diabetes. Right. Those pills only manage it and then have secondary or negative side effects that then make things worse. And we can talk about that because my goal here tonight is I want to piss people off.
Okay. And when you say that, what do you mean?
Okay. This is what I mean. My own personal experience. In 2018, my daughters opened up a CBD oil business. So as I was researching that, 'cause I didn't want my daughters getting mixed up with something shady. You know, I think CBD, you know, what kind of people use that? I don't want you girls messing around with that. So I started researching it. And I discovered that the U.S. government holds a patent filed in 2008. You can look it up. It's a U.S. patent held by the Department of Health and Human Services for CBD. And if you read the abstract is like the Reader's Digest version. It kind of bullet points all the benefits. It's good for preventing strokes. It's good for brain injury healing. It's good for cancer and causing apoptosis and all kinds of benefits. Proven in this patent held by the U.S. government. And when I saw that, I said, damn, this thing could have helped my brother. And it pissed me off that the government has this patent and no one knows.
Right, yeah, I would have never thought about that.
Yeah. So that started my quest into research and education, and then educating myself and getting involved and getting this program. And then I've come to learn a lot of things. For example, let's just talk diabetes.
Yes.
Okay. Diabetes is also known as insulin resistance, meaning your receptors. We have in our body, in our cells, we have insulin receptors. The pancreas produces insulin. It goes in and it triggers the insulin receptors to convert your glucose into energy. Okay. So what happens when you're diabetic, your receptors go on strike, basically. They shut down. So you're forcing all this insulin, but they're not working.
Not making it.
So the only way you're going to reverse the issue is to give these receptors what they need so they can get back to work. It's like a job site where the guys are on strike.
Okay, I get it.
Okay, and what do insulin receptors need? They need 3 basic elements. Number 1, chromium. Often people know it as chromium picolinate. They need vanadium, which is another mineral, and alpha lipoic acid. Those three things right there will get the receptors working. In addition, if you add berberine to the mix, berberine will stimulate your pancreas to produce more insulin. And berberine, scientifically proven to also stimulate what's called insulin sensitivity, meaning now your insulin is working.
Okay.
Whereas the doctors, they put you on medicine like metformin,
Yes.
or Ozempic, or if that doesn't work, then they want to give you insulin injections.
Correct.
Now, when you're giving insulin injections to somebody who is insulin resistant, that's like giving alcohol to an alcoholic. It doesn't make any sense. So that's just one subject.
Right.
Now, if you're wondering, what's the number one cause of diabetes? Yes, our diet. But a lot of people don't realize this. If the doctor puts you on statin drugs, which is cholesterol-lowering drugs, that right there induces diabetes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff the doctors are doing that, by side effects are getting you even more sick.
Well, here's the typical scenario. Doctor puts you on statin drugs. He says, Gil, your LDL, your HDL is a little elevated. Here, we're going to give you these statin drugs. Lipitor, for example, is one of them.
Oh yeah.
To lower your cholesterol. And you say, okay, doctor, I'll be a good patient. I'll take these medicines. Okay. So then, now that you're on these medicines, they want to do blood work every so often.
That's where I'm at right now. Yeah.
Okay. So now you go back after a few weeks or a couple months on Lipitor, and the doctor says, "Oh, Gil, we caught it just in time, man. It's a good thing. You're pre-diabetic. You're coming down with diabetes." Yeah, doctor, you provoked it with these damn Lipitors, and let me explain why. Lipitor, which your cholesterol is what your body uses to make hormones. Okay, why is that important? Insulin is a hormone. Now, what else is a hormone? Testosterone. If you're taking cholesterol-lowering drugs to lower your cholesterol, guess what? You're also lowering your testosterone.
Right.
Yeah. So us men, that's not a good thing.
No, not at all.
No, especially if we have, wives at home that expect, So cholesterol-lowering drugs reduces your ability to produce hormones because cholesterol is the building block to almost all hormones, and insulin. So that's why it triggers diabetes.
And now, when you were talking about diabetes, the two drugs that you named, I was on one of them, the first one. Metformin. So what can you take aside from that naturally instead of taking drugs like that if you're like pre-diabetic?
Okay. So metformin, the mechanism of action there is that it what it does, it not only makes you feel satiated, it curtails your appetite, actually. I don't know if you noticed when you were on it.
You know what? Now that you say it, it may have, for sure.
Yeah, so they think that's part of the answer,
Okay.
Messing with your physiology.
Right.
To me, that's not a good thing, when you mess with your physiology.
Right.
Okay, but if you want to take something that's actually going to be good for you, berberine, which promotes a healthy pancreas. Your pancreas produces the insulin, and also vitamin D3. Vitamin D3 is also supportive of a healthy pancreas. So if you got your pancreas working well, now if there's something going on with your pancreas, like the biofluids backing up or something, then you want to take some pancreatic enzymes. Those are digestive enzymes that you take with your food. That's kind of in a rare situation, but it's not bad to take it anyways, just as a preventative every now and then. But definitely berberine and vitamin D3.
Okay. And but also you need to watch the diet, because I think a lot of people unfortunately think, Gabi told me to take this and I'm gonna go get me some tortas, a couple 12 packs a night, and I'll still be okay.
Yeah, and you're right. You know what? The beer especially, people don't realize it, but when you're putting beer in that red cup, that's liquid bread. Beer is made out of barley and hops.
Get off the beer, Gil.
Yeah.
It's the wheat.
Yes, it's liquid bread. That's why we develop a beer belly, because we're drinking bread basically when we're drinking beer, and all of that turns into sugar.
I got to start looking at that. And now, when it comes to certain types of cancers, what's a treat? What's anything that can prevent, let's say, or help prevent?
Okay, I'm glad you asked. Let's first talk about what triggers cancer.
Okay.
I'll give you an example. In the laboratories, experiment on bunnies and lab rats that they give cancer to, well, cancer is not contagious. It's not like they take one sick cancer bunny and put him in a cage with other bunnies and it spreads.
True.
Yeah.
True.
So how do they do it? They inject them with high-dose antibiotics. Antibiotics, especially aflatoxin, it's aflatoxin. Anyways, it's part of the mycotoxin family. The word myco, M-Y-C-O, means all things fungi, yeast, mold, fungus. Antibiotics are made out of mycotoxin metabolites. So they are a form of fungus. I'll give you an example. If you're old enough to remember in high school when they used to really teach science, they taught us how they accidentally discovered penicillin. It was the lab worker in the 1940s. He was working in his lab. He had a petri dish with bacteria. He left it on the table, went home, came back the next day, and the bacteria was clean. It was gone because his sandwich had a little mold on it, and that mold flaked off and fell onto the petri dish. So that's when they discovered the first, and they call it penicillin. That particular mold is called penicillium. So that mold is when they discovered the first antibiotic, penicillin, which is a mycotoxin. Now, antibiotics, the word biotic means life. Okay? Biology, if you took biology class and learned about physiology and biology, it means life. Okay. Anti-life. That's what antibiotics are. So in a little bit, tiny bit amounts, it'll kill just a little bit of, bad stuff, supposedly. But too much of that is bad for us.
Of course.
So antibiotics are known to induce cancer.
So that's how they get into the rats, huh?
That's how they give it to the lab
Yeah, you know
rats.
what? That's something I would never thought about. How do they do it? Because they don't. Yeah, it's not like you just get cancer and give it to them. It's not like an AIDS type thing.
No. And by the way, when they say don't eat red meat because it causes cancer, that's a lie.
Okay.
If you go back to the Bible, where the prodigal son, after he was out there living the life, la vida loca, and he said, you know what, enough of this. I'm going back home to my dad. Remember that part? And then the dad said, oh, my son, he's back home. And he ordered the servants to slaughter the fatted calf. Well, that's red meat.
Right.
In the form of a celebration. Okay, but why does red meat get a bad rap today? Because it's full of antibiotics. And let me explain why. If you ever look at the cattle ranches, you see the cows with this big square chingas hanging on their ear.
Right.
Okay, I always thought it was just a number.
Right.
Their B number to keep them in line to see who's who. No, that's a little drip. It's connected to their a vein in their ear, and it's dripping an aflatoxin, myocycline, into their body all day long. And when I first learned of that, I thought, well, shoot, they're trying to keep these cows healthy. No. Antibiotics trigger weight gain.
Right. They're trying to beef them up.
Yes, because they get more money for a big fat cow than a skinny cow.
But what they're giving the cows, we're then eating that, though.
Yes, that meat is now infected with mycotoxins. Now we're eating it. That's what's causing cancer. It's not the red meat. It's what the red meat is infected with. Wow. By the way, USDA beef is illegal around the world. No other country will accept it.
You know what? I seen something. I seen something like that. But you're saying the USDA beef?
Yeah.
Because I seen something like France won't accept a lot of stuff. So they want. So our quality of meat everywhere else is no bueno.
It's poisoned.
Wow. But why is it that here you would think the cliche, the greatest country in the world, the most the richest country in the world? Why are they feeding the people that?
Come on, Gil, you know the answer to that.
Well, yeah, but I got to ask you.
It's about the money.
It's about the money.
Agribusiness is one of the biggest donors to Congress. So agribusiness gets to dictate their own laws, their own protections, just like that food pyramid with all the grains on the bottom that's killing us. Well, that was dictated by the agricultural business, the wheat and grain farmers.
They want to slang it.
Yeah.
They want to slang it.
Exactly.
What do you think about the biogenetic food that they're starting to come out with? They got chicken, they got steak, they got...
Okay, well, honestly, I haven't really studied that subject to really have a firm opinion.
Right.
But just my humble opinion, this is just me, If God didn't make it, I'm not interested in it.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm not. I don't know if Raul's gonna go to the party and say, "Hey, the carne asada, I got some bio carne asada," and everybody's gonna be happy. I don't think people will be happy with that one.
The incredible carne asada.
Yeah, you know what? The unfortunate part, I just saw an article last week. They're trying to make the servicemen and women the guinea pigs to eat that stuff.
Dude, they've been doing that to our servicemen for decades.
Those are the guinea pigs, huh?
With vaccines,
vaccines,
and all
that's
kinds
right.
of crazy stuff. When Gulf War I first was triggered by George Bush Sr.,
Yes.
I think it was it in the 90s?
92 or something?
Someplace.
Yeah, it was like 92.
They rolled out a anthrax vaccine.
I remember that.
It killed a truckload of our servicemen.
Really?
Not only killed, but also left them vaccine injured, paralyzed, and just,
Side effects.
yeah, big time.
What do you think about the COVID vaccine?
And by the way, that was experimental.
Yeah, of
well,
course.
Okay, the COVID vaccine, I'm glad you asked, that's still considered experimental.
Absolutely.
It's never been approved. They tricked the people by saying it is authorized, under emergency order authorized, but not approved.
Right.
And then they tried to pull a switcheroo. Pfizer got one approved in Europe, some kind of mRNA vaccine in Europe
Right.
for COVID, and they got that approved. So they put it all over the news. Oh, Pfizer's approved. It's approved. But not here in the U.S. We were still getting the bogus experimental vaccine,
Right.
which, by the way, it's proven. Batches, they were different batches because they were still experimenting. So you might have gotten a different dose than my friend. He might have gotten a different dose. So now they're trying to figure out, okay, what are the side effects? Which one of these two vatos is going to have a
Right.
sudden heart attack or other issues?
Yeah, and I definitely have friends that I know have certain issues, and like the doctors can't figure out what it is. You start seeing a lot of these ball players having heart attacks at a very young age. They're supposed to be at the peak of their their physical careers, right? And I think that they just pushed it on real fast to everybody. Say first there was a complete cure. It's going to solve it. Nobody's going to transmit it. Then after that wasn't flying. Then it was like, oh, well, then the symptoms are going to be less. Well, that wasn't flying. It was just like one after another. But it was, if you look back now, it was scary how the government pushed it.
Yeah. We were, see, fear is a huge motivator.
Yes.
So they use fear to manipulate the people. The fact of the matter is, the coronavirus itself has never been isolated and proven to exist. Like here it is right here. Okay, there's the way the scientific industry works in terms of vaccine, they have in vitro, in vivo, and in silico. When they do a in vitro analysis, that means in a test tube.
Okay.
In vitro like glass.
Okay.
The medical industry likes to sound.
Hey, I'm getting schooled.
Yeah, they like to sound educated using Greek and Latin words and stuff. Okay. So in vivo means in live.
In life.
Whether it's a person or a lab rat.
Okay.
Okay. And then you got in silico. Well, what's that? In silico is this TV screen, computer screen.
Okay.
Okay. So what did they do to trick the people about the coronavirus that doesn't exist? They came up with the code of it in silico. It exists only in theory on a computer screen in silico.
And that's where they came up with it.
Yes. That they discovered the DNA strands of the coronavirus. Yeah, well, it's in theory in silico on a computer screen. It doesn't exist.
Now, do you think that it did come from like the lab in China or whatever it was, or what do you think it was?
Okay. Well, now was there something that was as a pathogen? Okay, pathogens do exist, by the way.
Yes.
Okay, what does pathogen mean? Pathogen means anything that can kill you. I'll give you an example. A pathologist. Pathologist, that's the coroner.
Right.
What does the pathologist do? He studies dead people.
Yes, sir.
He's a pathologist. So these are pathogens. Okay, so there's all kinds of pathogens in the world that can make you sick, that can even kill you. To me, the big one is mold, yeast, fungi, candida, fungus. I'll give you an example. If you look in the Bible never says, be careful with those viruses, stay away from those bacterias. No, but the Bible does say, watch out for the fungus. because the fungus, está cabrón. Remember, fungus is a mycotoxin that they use to induce cancer.
Right.
So were people getting sick with something? Well, we normally do during these seasons. They call it the seasonal flu, which is a whole different subject.
Yes.
Now, were they somehow blowing it out of proportion? I think so. Because let me ask you this. You probably know somebody, your neighbor, your cousin, your compadre, uncle, somebody around who died of cancer. Or
Yes,
your
of course.
compadre's uncle.
Of course.
Okay, not cancer, I'm sorry, COVID. COVID, okay. So I always ask, so when they died, did they die in the hospital under the doctor's care, or were they home taking care of themselves with calditos?
No, most people that I heard of passed away. It was at the hospital. We actually had a whole crew of waterproofers. We were working in Malibu at the time, right? There's a whole crew of waterproofers, and they all got the COVID, right? So they all stood home, and there was one of them in particular. And the guy told me, he's like, "Dude, it's my compadre. We're telling him, don't go to the hospital. Don't go to the hospital." He went to the hospital. They injected him, put him on some ventilation. Guy died. Yeah. Everybody else, they stayed home. It was just like a real bad flu. I had it, and it was pretty bad. I went to the hospital just to get some kind of antibiotic, something, I don't know. But I didn't stay over the night. I wasn't one of those guys. But I did see that there was a trend. A lot of people that went to the hospitals, they ended up not coming out.
Yeah, and I don't mean to discount it, because I know for a lot of people it's a sensitive subject,
Yeah,
especially
for sure.
if they lost their mom or their dad or their brother. You know, it's sad. But the fact of the matter is, everyone that I speak to who lost somebody always died in the hospital under a doctor's care. So what could have they died from? Was it the treatment? Think about it. They were being given remdesivir. Remdesivir is a particular drug that Fauci has a financial interest in. They first rolled it out many years ago for cancer, but they couldn't use it because it was killing the cancer patients.
Oof.
Why? Because it was shutting down their kidneys. Okay, so they rolled it out supposedly for COVID. So what was happening when people got remdesivir in the hospital? Their kidneys were shutting down. Doctors were even saying, I've never seen a flu virus that would affect somebody's kidneys. So what happens when the kidneys shut down? Your body fills with fluid. That's called edema. So when your body or your lungs get fluid, pulmonary edema, now they can justify sticking a tube down your throat. They intubate you, a ventilator.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what was killing people. And I don't want to say it was for financial reasons, but they were getting financial benefits for doing that.
Every person that died from COVID were getting a bonus. Yeah, I mean, you could have come in for a fractured ankle and something happens, you die. Oh, he died of COVID.
Yeah.
She died of COVID. All of a sudden, the flu numbers, there was no more people dying of flu that year, and everybody was dying of the vid. What you got over there?
No, I was just going to say, I know people are probably watching and thinking, oh, that about those crazy, he's talking shit.
Let
blah,
them
blah,
think
blah.
it. Let
I
them
got the
think it.
receipts, brother. I got the research.
Let them
you
think
know,
it.
And we can point them right to the NIH, the National Institute of Health.
Okay.
That's the government website where every peer-reviewed study, every scientific research, every university-level research on so-called viruses and other illnesses and medicines and nutrition, benefits, side effects, it's all there. It's all there. You just got to look for it. It's a little wonky. It's kind of written, in medical terms, but I think the average person can figure. Hey, if a guy from Bassett can figure it out, come on, man. I think we all can figure it out.
Fauci was in the hot seat a couple weeks back, and he pretty much said that the 6 feet was all fake. It was kind of just winging it, and that's what everybody was doing. They were kind of just winging it, and at the end, I think everybody just got so spooked. And the country did. The country definitely got spooked. I saw this, I think it was not 2 weeks ago, I was surprised. I think the state of Kansas is actually suing Pfizer. And they're suing them. It's not just some come around the mill lawyer. It's the actual attorney of the attorney of was it Kansas? And he's putting it in there. He's like, false statements. You guys are saying, they were saying, oh, this is gonna cure it. Oh, this is gonna prevent the spread. Oh, this. He's like, you guys are all giving us all these false statements. You got people dying of heart attacks and all kind of stuff. So hopefully that's gonna open up the Pandora's box for them to show the lies they were doing. But I mean, how are you gonna give a blank check to the pharmaceutical companies? They're dope dealers.
Well, yeah, and by the way, the only real immunity is for the pharmaceutical industry.
Yes,
because you can't sue them for their vaccine damage.
That's insane, right?
Yeah, so there's the only real immunity.
Yeah. There you go.
And by the way, I'm not going to take something if they don't believe in it to stand behind it, where they have to have full immunity.
Right.
Then why should I take their shit?
Well, it makes no sense because every other drug you see that they have to put on the market, it'll make you do this, it'll make you do that. You can lose eyesight. You might have a heart attack. You might do suicide. You might do this. With theirs, that's what I was telling my wife. I was like, "Are you telling me it's a perfect drug?"
No, I'm glad you asked that. About why didn't they have any of the side effect disclosures on the COVID vaccine? Because it's not approved. Any approved drug or medication has to have its disclosures. But because it's not approved, that's kind of like a loophole. Remember, it was only emergency authorized.
And they're using every bit of it. Because now they're even trying to slang it where, we're going to give it to you at the same time as a flu shot.
Oh, yeah, a double whammy. Hey, what could possibly go wrong? It's ridiculous.
But where are the real physicians in all this? Where are the real doctors that say, you know what, this is wrong?
It's sad because I really believe there are good doctors out there with a good heart who went into it with a vocation, not just because they were going to get paid well. But unfortunately, I think too many just went into it because it was a good paying career, unfortunately, because they're just going along. They're going along with the program. And quite frankly, when you go to school like that, it almost becomes a cult. You get reprogrammed in their way of thinking. Most of their textbooks in the medical school are brought to you by Pfizer.
It's almost like the doctors are the corner salesmen of the dope, and the big pharmaceutical companies are the ones holding the bag.
Yeah. And it's all about to get you on a managed program for life.
Yeah, there's no profit in the cure.
No.
Right?
Yeah. Since you mentioned that, is it CNBC, the finance channel that's got the ticker, the stocks?
Yes.
One day, the guy on CNBC was interviewing a CEO from a pharmaceutical company, and they rolled out a drug called I forget the name of it now, but it's to cure hepatitis C liver.
Okay.
My homeboy got on that. Oh gosh, I can't think of the name of that drug now. Harboni. Okay. So the television guy was interviewing the CEO, and he asked him about how does this thing work, and the guy was so proud about his medication. It has a 100% success rate of curing the patient. My friend was cured. He was on the liver transplant list. No more.
Really?
He's totally cured. Yeah. Okay. Harboni. So the CNBC host said, well, we wouldn't recommend your company to invest in because you're not going to have long-term clients. You've got a one-and-done client. You're done.
That is crazy.
He said the quiet part out loud.
Yeah, he said the quiet part out loud. But it's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you would think, they're not going to make as much money as everybody else because they can't keep you hooked coming back for dope. You need the people to, be hooked to have to come back time and time again.
Evidently, yeah.
So what else you got in the libro over there, Carnal?
Well, okay. We were also talking about, this is important, especially for young families.
Yeah, shoot.
And that's the childhood vaccines.
Okay.
The current schedule, the CDC schedule, from birth to age 18 is upwards of 50 shots by the time the kid turns 50. On day one, when the baby comes out of the chute, they get 2 shots. One is the hepatitis C vaccine, which you only get from sharing dirty needles and having sex on the streets. Why give that to a newborn? And then the other shot is a vitamin K shot, which sounds like, okay, it's just vitamin K. No, it's got a black box label warning on it. Why? Because it's also mixed with adjuvants. Adjuvants are things that cause the body to trigger an immune response. It's stupid, their theory. But that's what they give a newborn baby on day one. And then from there, it's all downhill.
Now, do you believe, like so many people do, that it's causing autism? Because the autism numbers now seems like it's through the roof.
I brought the receipts, brother. This was a study done by a pediatrician of over 5,000 infants from his office. This is his office that he took them in from birth till they aged out of his pediatric practice.
Okay.
And he's a doctor that lets the parents decide about vaccines, because nowadays, if you have a little child, right away, hey, wellness check, okay, it's time for vaccines. They're always pushing the vaccines on the newborns and the 2-year-old and the 3-year-old. So he's not like that. So anyways, after 35 years of practice, he did a study. And this is a controlled study. So half of his patients are all fully vaccinated, and the other half are not, basically. Right here's the proof. The unvaccinated are much healthier.
Wow.
They're not dealing with asthma or ADHD or neurological disorders or gut issues or just all kinds of problems that those kids develop that are problems for life, like autoimmune diseases. And right here's the data. But nobody, they keep this quiet.
Yeah, nobody wants to pick up that story.
No. And this is also published in the NIH, the National Institute of Health. So anybody who wants to find it can go there and find it.
Now, where does Doctor practice at?
Oregon.
Okay. So
Yes.
in Oregon, he did that study, and it was all pretty much just he wanted to do it to see what it was.
Well, yeah, because he was the perfect, you might say, environment for it. The reason why he did this is because the pharmaceutical industry has never once conducted a double-blind, which is the gold standard,
Okay.
a double-blind placebo-controlled test on vaccines. The reason they don't do it is because they say it would be inhumane. Okay, what do you mean inhumane? So they're going to give one child newborn the vaccines, and they're going to give the other newborn a placebo. They say it's inhumane to give you just a placebo because now you're being left unprotected. I have grandchildren that are not vaccinated. Ooh, man, I can tell you, when you see a little kid that's got a twinkle in their eye and they're sharp and they pick up on things, they don't just look, but they study. They study what they're looking at. That's usually an unvaccinated child.
And I kind of agree with that because, like I said, this is like what I see out there. You have so many people with kids who have some issues right now, whether they're very hyper, some type of ADHD, there's something going on, and you always would see it, but now it's much more common.
Well, let me tell you, explain why that could be. Remember, we're talking about pathogens earlier?
Yes.
Pathogens are meant to make you sick or to kill you. Vaccines contain pathogens, and they contain adjuvants, and they contain formaldehyde and other neurotoxins. It's right on the label. Neurotoxins. Think about that. Neuro. What's that? Brain. Right. Neuro and or the nervous system. Toxins. So it contains brain poisons. I mean, it's ridiculous, brother. And I can tell you from my own grandchildren that are not vaccinated, they're fine. No, they've not come down with measles or mumps. And like I told my kids, their parents, if they were, it's not a mortal disease. You can get over it.
Right. Well, what I'm trying to figure out is how did the rest of the world, handle it for thousands of years, and now all of a sudden we can't survive unless we take your magic dose of a pill or whatnot.
Exactly. And a lot of countries don't mandate vaccines the way we do here. And the reason they're mandated, for example, here in California, Sacramento, there's an assemblyman, or he might have transferred now to the Senate, named Faum. Assemblyman Faum, almost like pharmaceutical. And he is a huge advocate for Big Pharma. Whatever Big Pharma wants, he authors the bill and he pushes it through.
Yeah, it's all about the money. It's all about the money. Let's put that number up there quick, Chris, real quick. I'm sure somebody's going to want to call. Let's see what we got over here. Let me see. Yeah, because I had some people were actually looking forward to you, and I'm glad you came in here because this is some great conversation, especially when it comes to health in our community. I feel like we don't get enough of that. We also definitely don't get enough of politics in our community, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring it out to light. Oh, yeah, for sure, Mr. Chris. I'm bumping some moldies over here. How was the drive over here, buddy?
You know what? We were flying, man. There was hardly any traffic.
And good food down the street?
I was impressed. Little place surprised me. Taco Manso or Manzano.
Yeah, they have a pretty cool, it's like a real thin type pizza they make over there.
Oh, okay.
That one. Oh, no, I'm trying to connect to the stereo. Hold on. Let's go. All right, people, tap it in. Yeah, let me turn that stereo off. Press the Bluetooth. It shows like it's connected, but it's not coming out. You guys can call in 747-279-8109. 747-279-8109.
I reset it.
Okay, I think I got it. Total. Now it's gone. Hit it one more time, Chris. Yeah, right now I can't even see it. Just the JBL and everything else. So what do you got going on 4th of July there, Gabriel?
Hang out at my homeboy's house.
That's right.
For sure. Yeah, and with the callers, we can talk about anything, whether it's blood pressure, of course, we talk about cholesterol, diabetes. We can talk about cancer. We can talk about Parkinson's, Alzheimer's.
Let's talk a little bit about Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
Right now.
I'm glad you mentioned Alzheimer's because that is a physician-caused disease.
You believe that, huh?
There's proof.
Okay, so talk to me.
And let me explain why.
Yes, please.
Your brain,
Uh-huh.
by weight, is 85% cholesterol.
Okay.
Okay. Your body needs cholesterol. You need it because your body uses it to produce hormones. Your liver makes cholesterol. So if you're not making enough cholesterol because you're taking Lipitor, by the way, the neurons, the myelin sheath is covered with lipids, Lipitor. Make that connection.
Okay.
Lipids, that's fatty tissue,
Right.
which is cholesterol. And now you're taking Lipitor. Okay, so what happens when you're dialing down your body's production of cholesterol? Your body still needs it. So it searches for it, and it's going to take it from the number one reservoir, which is up here in the head. Up here, you've got a big reservoir of cholesterol. So since you're suppressing your body's ability to produce it by taking those pharmaceuticals, and then the doctor says, oh, don't eat carnitas, and don't eat manteca, and don't eat butter. Now you're not taking in enough. So now it starts taking it from up here, depleting the cholesterol. So those neurons that connect like this, they don't have enough cholesterol for the myelin sheath. The myelin sheath, like this. This is a sheath around, there's copper wiring under here, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this rubber insulation is a sheath. In our brain, we have a myelin sheath that is made out of lipids, cholesterol.
Right.
And underneath there is a little cable, wire called an axon. And once that starts to break apart and break down, what's going to happen, bzz, 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 and you're going to start you're going to turn like, pobrecito Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, but I don't know if you wanted to go there.
And I mean it sincerely, pobrecito.
No, you know what, on the Biden thing, it is just so unfortunate. And at this point, I don't know if I'm correct in this, but I'm putting the blame on his wife, Jill, because if anybody can stop me from doing anything dumb or pull me out, is my wife. My wife is the one that's gonna make the call. You're done. Hey, that's it. I'm not gonna have my husband be a fool anymore out there. But it seems like she's once you get that power, let's get this call real quick.
Okay.
Hotline. Who we got? Hello. Yeah,
I'm calling.
yeah. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from West Covina, California. I know Gabriel Chavez, and actually my brother's there with him. I'm calling.
Oh, I thought he owed you money. I thought you were calling to
No.
see if he owed you $20 or something from back in '75.
Busted.
No.
Talk to
I
us.
just want to call to reiterate everything that he's saying because I'm 70 years old and I'm in good shape and I take everything that he's talking about. And I've been told that I was pre-diabetic many months ago. And I'm not now.
Very cool. So it's working. What you're saying?
Yes, exactly.
Absolutely.
Right on, Marlene. Nice to hear from you. I'm glad that you were able to conquer and reverse that diabetic problem. So keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for the call. We got a super chat. Moises Carrera, a $10 super chat. Appreciate that. Please invite this guy as much as you can, Gil. Thank you. Hey, no, and we need this. We like I said, people love having this kind of conversation, which is dope. Mr. Tony. Hotline. What's going on, Tony?
Was good. Hey, I got a question for Mr. Gabriel.
Talk to us.
So I used to work at Trader Joe's, and I used to stock some of the juices sometimes, right? And there was a lady that came in, and she asked me for a case of cherry juice, but 100% cherry juice, not the stuff made out of concentrate. And I was curious because no one really buys that stuff, and she swore that it helped out with her arthritis and whenever she had inflammation. Now, I mean, I'm Mexican, so we think everything kind of has a cure. Have you heard that cherry juice is good for things like that?
Yes, and thank you for calling. Yes, I always recommend organic concentrate cherry juice. And why? It's good for the kidneys, and it also promotes healthy sleep. There's research on it that it can actually reverse what is that when you can't sleep? Now I'm okay. Insomnia, yes. And there's research that says insomnia can be reversed because cherry juice also provides. There's a molecule in cherry juice that provides the precursor for your body to produce melatonin. instead of taking melatonin, it's better for your body to produce it. So it does promote healthy sleep. It's good for your kidneys. It's proven to reverse gout or uric acid, which is what triggers gout, that painful feeling in your toes. Why? Now, let me ask you, is it Manuel?
No, this is Tony.
Oh, Tony. Why do you have an interest in cherry juice? Is there something going on with you specifically?
No. Well, it was strange because, like I'm telling you, we moved maybe 1 or 2 units a day, and this lady wanted a case, and I was like, and it was an older doña, and I was like, I never heard that before, and it struck my interest, and I always want to recommend it to people, but I don't want to recommend them something that I'm not too sure about.
Yeah,
so
organic.
That's why,
it's got to be organic tart cherry juice, and here's two. I'm gonna give you 2 ways how to properly dose it. Okay, how to take it. If you're gonna take it at night, if you enjoy cold milk, pour yourself a glass of about 6 ounces of milk. Get a little shot glass like a tequila shooter. Put yourself a shot of tart cherry juice. Pour it into the milk. Stir it up. It tastes like a raspberry shake. And you drink it nice and smooth, it tastes great. If you don't like it in milk, you don't want something cold, you want tea, a hot tea, get yourself some valerian root tea or passiflora, passion flower tea. Make that tea, and same thing, get a shooter glass and stick it in that cup of tea and drink it like that. And it makes the tea taste good.
And you said that stuff has melatonin, the cherry juice?
It helps your body produce melatonin, yes.
Okay, because I've been trying to get my kids to go to sleep for the longest, and right now that school is not on. It's all tough to put them to sleep. Is it safe to give it to my kids? I got an 8-year-old and I got a 6-year-old.
Anything natural is absolutely safe, in my opinion.
Cool.
All right, Tony. Appreciate the call always.
Thank you.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
The tingly feeling that you get sometimes, like as far as diabetic, what is that?
Okay, you're probably referring to what's called peripheral neuropathy.
Okay.
Peripheral neuropathy means the periphery, your hands, your feet. Neuropathy. Remember, we're talking about the pathologist. Nerves.
Okay.
Pathy. Your nerves are dying.
Oh man, the nerves are dying. Hey, that's the way to get their attention, right?
Yeah, that's what neuropathy means. Pathy.
Okay.
Okay.
Great joke from my doctor when I first went in there, and he tells me, "Take off your shoes so I can poke your feet."
Yeah.
I said, "Which one?" He's like, "Which one do you want to keep?" I said, I'm gonna give you both."
Yeah. So what causes neuropathy, and that's often associated with diabetes.
Yes.
Okay. So what happens when you start to develop neuropathy? That's because of poor blood flow.
Okay.
Because when you're diabetic, your blood is a little thicker than it should be.
All right.
Because of the extra glucose and the extra insulin. So your blood is sticky and thick.
Gotcha.
So it's not getting down into those little tiny capillaries below the knee and around the foot.
Right. It ain't flowing right.
Yeah. So you might as well tie a rubber band around your knee and everything's going to go numb from there down.
Wow. Okay.
So you need to stimulate and get that blood flowing properly.
Gotcha.
So what you need is a vasodilator.
Okay.
Vasodilator. Dilate, we all know what that means, especially if your wife had a baby, she had to dilate 10 centimeters. Or if your eyes are dilated,
Right. Hotline, what you got?
What's going on, bro? Shout out to the doctor, shout out to Gil, and shout out to the guy in the background.
That's right.
How you doing?
That's his buddy, what is it, Raul?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a shout
No,
to...
this is Big Bad Roger,
I
bro.
know it's you,
Hey,
Roger. I'm saying the guy in the background. What's up, Roger? What you got?
Hey, listen, I want to talk to the doctor, so I'm going to spread some. So, hey, doctor, how you doing?
I'm doing well, and thank you for calling. But let me clarify something. I'm not a medical doctor. I am a board-certified holistic practitioner. And just a disclaimer, I'm not here diagnosing, nor am I prescribing. I'm only making recommendations as to what I would do. And I have to do that, say that,
Hey,
because
doctor,
that's a disclaimer.
Honestly, listen,
Oh, yeah, that's
I'll
Roger.
call you a doctor because I trust you more than these doctors. So, listen, listen, I have
Roger's
a
a
condition
regular.
called hyperglycemia.
Hyperglycemia.
Basically,
Yeah.
Yeah, hyperglycemia. So basically what it is, I have upside down lipids. My cholesterol is always through the roof. It's crazy. I found this out when I was like 13 years old. I went to the doctor. I was like 13 years old. My triglycerides were like at 500 and my cholesterol. So This guy told me I was going to die by the age of 18, right? So I went to the doctor. I have to go to the cardiologist every once in a while just to check. I'm always perfect. But when I don't take medication for like the triglycerides and the bad cholesterol, you know, these guys think I'm going to die. And, you know, I spent $600, dude, on tests. They did ultrasound on my fucking artery, on my vein, on my neck, and then they did an ultrasound on my heart. I did a stress test. You know, I work out, you know, regular, this kind of that. You know, I'm not a fat guy. I don't have
Give us
kids.
the question. Give us the question, Roger, because Roger go like for 2 weeks.
So I guess what I'm trying to tell you is like, you know, like I don't, you know, like what do you do in that situation?
Okay.
Like if you're just trying to naturally, when you have this condition.
Well, let me, there's a lot here to unpack. So let me just start with what you first started. Hyperglycemic. Okay. Hyper means elevated. So you have high glucose, high sugar, blood sugar level. Okay.
No, not high. I'm sorry. Hyper. I forgot the name of it. I have high cholesterol.
Oh, hypercholesterol. Okay,
Yeah.
that's high cholesterol. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So my body, I can't get. No matter what I do, I can work out. I can exercise.
Okay. Well, let me ask you a question. Are you taking statin drugs? I'm assuming you are.
I'm taking Lipitor. I'm taking Lipitor.
Okay.
I take two drugs.
You got to cut him off, and I won't be quiet.
Okay, Roger. Real quick.
And phenofibrate.
Real quick. I'm gonna shock everybody right now. What I'm gonna say. Cholesterol is your friend, and let me explain why cholesterol is your friend.
Maybe that's why I'm so smart.
Well,
I'm good in bed.
Yeah. So here's why it's your friend. Number one, your body needs it. Your body uses it to make testosterone and other. Okay, but here's another reason why cholesterol has gotten a bad rap, and this is what's going to shock you and everyone else. The reason cholesterol has gotten a bad rap is because cholesterol is always found at the scene of the crime. And let me explain. When somebody has a heart attack, or when back in the day they would do an autopsy and they would look at their arteries and they say, "Oh man, look at homeboy died of a heart attack because he's got cholesterol in his veins or in his arteries. So cholesterol must be the bad guy." No. Cholesterol is like the first responder. And let me explain. Inside your arteries, it's called the endothelial, the inside lining. When that gets damaged from arterial plaque and other junk that flows through our blood, when it gets damaged, cholesterol comes and puts a patch over it. Kind of like when the city comes and patches up a pothole. So that patch of cholesterol is there to the rescue. So blaming the cholesterol is like blaming the firemen, because every time you see a house on fire or a burning building, you say, look at those pinche red trucks, man. They must be going around setting fires. No, they're the good guys. Same thing as cholesterol. So cholesterol has gotten a bad rap. Now, is there a problem if it's upwards of 380? Yeah. Do you know what your number is, by the way?
Oh, I hung up on Roger already.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, that's fine. But yeah, cholesterol. That's another.
Yeah, you were saying.
I hate to sound so blunt, but it's another fraud. It's another fraud. When they came out with the numbers some 30 years ago,
right?
The acceptable range was like 290. So they would put people on drugs to get it down to 290. Okay, but then they realized everybody else is around 280. So why don't we come up with a new number at 270 so we can give everybody else drugs? And so they always adjust it.
I got new clients.
Thank you.
I got new clients.
That's the same game they've pulled on the blood pressure.
Something tells me I'm not going to get any pharmaceutical endorsements here anytime soon, man. Hold on here. Until they sell me, I'll be like, he's a quack. He's a quack. I'm at Pfizer.
I got the receipts.
Oh, once I get my Pfizer endorsement, I'll send you out of here.
I'll send you the links to everything we discussed.
No, you sent me. Yeah. You sent me there enough.
Yeah.
Pfizer. What do you? I mean, not Pfizer. I'm sorry. Ozempic. What do you think about the Ozempic craze?
Okay. Well, it's a craze because it helps reduce weight. It's a weight loss. They're using it as a weight loss drug.
Oh, that's exactly what's being used for now.
Okay. Now, I haven't studied the long-term side effects of that to know whether or not I would recommend it. I don't normally recommend pharmaceuticals anyway,
right?
But I would still recommend what I call the poor man's Ozempic, which is berberine. And you can start with 500 milligrams.
What is berberine?
Berberine, Berberine, berberine.
Berberine.
It's been around in ancient Chinese medicine for thousands of years. It's used in Ayurvedic medicine, which is the not Middle Eastern, like India.
Okay.
India uses that kind of medicine. It's a plant. It's become more and more popular here over the last few years, but the research on it is extensive. There's no downside, and it does a lot more than just lower your blood sugar, produce more insulin. It gives you that satiated feeling that you're not hungry. It's like
Right.
it's like an appetite suppressant, you might say.
Do you eat it? Do you drink it? How do
It comes in a capsule.
Okay.
Now, normally when you buy it, it's 500 milligrams. I recommend people of average height and weight start with 500 milligrams. Because you should really calculate it based on milligram per kilogram. A small child is going to take less than a big.
Absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely.
But the average dosing, you can take it up to 1,500 milligrams a day without an issue.
Okay. We got a phone call from New Jersey. Hotline. Talk to us.
Oh man,
Who is this?
it's Gio.
Gio, what's going on, Gio? You got a question for Mr. Gabriel?
No, I just want to give a little input of some knowledge that I know.
Sure.
Or, that just want to know if the doctor can fill me in, if and any knowledge that he knows as well.
Okay, go ahead.
So people that suffer from Alzheimer's, they can take coconut oil, which contains MCT oil, which is supposed to reverse Alzheimer's. I'm not sure if the doctor's familiar with
Yes.
any of that.
Yes. Let me address that real quick. The Alzheimer's Association a few years ago did research on coconut oil to help rebuild the myelin sheath. Why? Because the myelin sheath is cholesterol. Why is coconut oil helpful? Because coconut oil is a healthy fat, high in saturated fats, which is healthy. Avocado, coconut oil, yes, MCT oil contains caprylic acid. All that's good for you, and that helps rebuild the cholesterol matter in your body. And keep in mind, the Alzheimer's Association came up with this study. The pharmaceutical industry hijacked it, and they came up with a concentrated form that you need a prescription for, that you can get from the pharmacy in a capsule or gel cap form. But the researchers said you don't need to do that. Just go to any supermarket and buy organic, cold pressed coconut oil. It's just as good as the purified pharmaceutical. In fact, it's even better because it has the other byproducts, the fibers and everything else that the coconut gives of itself.
Correct.
Yes, so
Also,
you're correct.
Yes, my grandmother suffered from Alzheimer's, and we've been giving her MCT oil, and it's helped her tremendously.
Nice.
So for anybody out there that has a family member that's suffering from that,
And also, by the way, put her on a heavy diet of eggs. My recommendation, and again, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but what I would do, and I did it with my own folks because my mom had early onset dementia. I was feeding them 6 eggs a day for my mom and my dad, 3 in the AM and 3 in the PM. And that really put the brakes on the early onset dementia, Alzheimer's, and my father never developed it.
Or is that because of the choline in it?
Well, there's a lot of micronutrients, but remember, eggs have always had a bad rap for cholesterol. But again,
Yes.
cholesterol is your friend.
Got it. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you
Thank
for the
you.
call. Now, when you eat the eggs, can you eat them boiled? Can you eat them any way?
Ah, thank you. Hard-boiled eggs, no bueno.
No
because
bueno.
once you hard-boil it, you
You lose the juice.
Yes.
Hotline. Who's this?
Hi, this is Yolanda.
What's going on, Yolanda? You got a question for Mr. Chavez?
Yes, I do. I wanted to ask him what's good for diabetes, like natural remedy, and also for anxiety.
Okay. Hi, Yolanda.
Great question.
Okay, quickly on the diabetes, we want to get your insulin receptors back to work. So you got to use chromium picolinate, okay, vanadium, and alpha lipoic acid. It's 3 words, alpha lipoic acid. It's 1 bottle. Usually those 3 together will help your receptors get back to work. And then you want to support your pancreas by giving it berberine and vitamin D3. Vitamin D3, a lot of people don't take enough of it. So for everyone, regardless of height and weight, I always recommend minimum 5,000 units. Unlike most vitamins that are measured in milligrams or micrograms, vitamin D3 comes in international units. So when you see it at the store, look for it in 5,000 IUs. I take 10,000 myself every day.
10,000 of
Oh,
vitamin D?
anxiety, yes. Okay. Anxiety, okay. By the way, I'm not a big fan of Prozac or Zoloft or those drugs because those are what they call SSRIs, which are selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, which are not effective. What you need to do is give your body the ability to produce the serotonin, it's hard with these headphones on. Serotonin.
There you go.
The serotonin, the feel-good hormones, the serotonin, the dopa, the gabamine, that's all made in your gut, by the way. So you have to have a good, healthy gut flora. Yes, it's your pituitary gland up in your head that modulates it and releases it, regulates it. But if you're not producing the feel-good hormones through healthy cholesterol, healthy microbiome, gut flora, you're going to be deficient. So I would recommend put yourself on a B complex. B complex is multi-Bs. And then what you want to do is buy yourself a jar of niacin. That's vitamin B3. By the way, a little secret, before they invented Prozac, doctors used to prescribe niacin, vitamin B3, for anxiety and depression. So get yourself a B complex and the niacin, B3, 500 milligrams, but also a multivitamin with minerals. That's a good start. The sunshine vitamin, which is a natural antidepressant, and that's vitamin D3, believe it or not. So get yourself on that. So let me ask you a quick question, Yolanda. When's the last time you took a vitamin?
You know what? I haven't, but I do take Bettermine or whatever for diabetes. I do take that.
Okay, but in general, you're not taking vitamins to support the berberine?
No, I don't.
Okay, that's what I figured. I used to ask people, hey, do you take vitamins? And they would say, oh, yeah. Really? When's the last time? Oh, I don't know. Okay, so now I ask, when's the last time? It's like when a cop asks you, when you been arrested?
All right.
Right.
Yeah, no, take a long time.
Yeah.
Thank you for the call.
Thank you, Yolanda.
You're welcome. Bye.
We got 2 super chats. Big one, $50 super chat. Juan Gonzalez, appreciate you, my man. Gil, great show, brother. We need to have him more often on the pod. Saludos, carnales, from Temecula, California. Keep this guy safe at all costs. He's got his bodyguard back here. Don't worry. And then we have a $2 super chat. Bulldog Face, how you been, my man? What does he think about TRT for men who need it? Testosterone replacement treatment.
Yeah, that's often for low T. Think about it. Why is there a rash of low T, low testosterone? Because for the last 40 years, doctors have been handing out statin drugs, cholesterol-lowering drugs like candy. So when men are on cholesterol-lowering drugs, they're going to be low T.
Of course.
So testosterone replacement therapy.
What exactly is that? I've heard about that a lot.
Okay. So there's a natural way of doing it. You can take the therapy, which is hormone replacement, which you're getting injections of testosterone, which could be synthetic. It depends the source.
Give us a second caller.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
So you can take natural supplements and, of course, get your body working to produce testosterone.
Give us 1 second, caller. But what do you think about the treatment? You think it's good?
I've not researched it because that's on the pharmaceutical side, so I'm not aware of the downside to make a comment. I've heard of downsides, but I'm not familiar.
Okay, caller, what's going on, my man?
Well, guys, so I have a question for the doc.
Shoot.
You know how certain animals could live, hundreds of years? You think we could study those animals and maybe take some of what makes them live for so long and apply that to humans? I'll give you an example, like a sea turtle, they say can live up to like 300 years. Some shark in Greenland can live up to 600. Do you think at some point we should study those animals to see what makes them tick for so long?
Well, Methuselah in the Bible lived for 500 years. But the reason why most animals can't have longevity, one reason is we as mammals, and you mentioned turtles. I'm assuming turtle is a mammal. So, no, it's not a mammal?
Reptile.
It's a reptile. Oh, okay. Well, we as mammals, we're the only species of the mammal family that does not produce our own vitamin C. All other mammals, the liver produces vitamin C. That's important because vitamin C is a huge antioxidant, which is also in the family of anti-aging supplements.
All right, call. Hey, great question. You got one more?
All right, man. Well, just one quick thing.
Shoot.
Another thing I like telling people, each time I eat, bro, I try to eat with, like, even if I'm gonna eat like crap, I always recommend people like put garlic on it. You know what I mean? Like, or some chili, or eat a fruit right after, eat an apple. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like these little things can be beneficial, you know, for everybody. Because I feel like a lot of people just eat shit, bro. Like, for example, if you're gonna eat some Cheetos, I don't know, put some garlic in it, some, like, you know, like some greens or something.
For sure,
Does that make
brother.
sense?
Yeah, for sure.
By the way, I want to
All right,
mention
guys.
something.
Thank you.
Yeah. On that note, I would rather have my clients on a crappy diet and taking supplements than eating all organic, natural food with no supplements. Because today's all organic, expensive, natural food just doesn't have the vitamins and minerals that it did 40, 50 years ago.
What is something that is natural that you would know that's good for testosterone?
Okay. Well, there's a lot of different supplements, but you want to start with like zinc and copper. Those are trace minerals that the body needs, the prostate needs. By the way, we can talk about prostate cancer, another hoax.
Okay, for sure.
And then there's supplements, various herbs. You can just go to even Walmart and get that Nugenics, Iron Man supplement or Mega Man.
Right,
it's got a
right.
little bit of everything, but you got to take enough of it to be effective.
Absolutely. You got to call. Hotline, what you got?
Hey, this is my name's Rebecca.
Okay, Rebecca, you got a question for Mr. Chavez here?
Yes, I do. What does he think about CBD oil?
Oh, good call. My daughter's on a CBD distribution business, so I can tell you there's a lot of research I was sharing with Gil earlier. One of the things that made me angry was when I discovered the federal government holds a patent filed in 2008, I'm sorry. It's held by the National Human Health and Services Department, and it lists all the benefits of CBD oil, scientifically proven, from reversing brain damage to preventing strokes, for Parkinson's, for Alzheimer's. In cancer, it promotes apoptosis, which means it kills off the cancer cells. And it's good for anxiety because it helps create the body into homeostasis. Homeostasis when you have balance. When you're all, and I don't know if you can see me, but when you're all twisted like this, you're going to feel anxious. And when you're like this, you're out of balance. You're not sleeping well. You're not digesting well. You're not feeling well. CBD helps modulate the endocrine system, which is your hormonal system, which brings you back to balance. Now you feel a sense of ease and life is good. And it doesn't make you high, nor is it addictive, nor is there any really downside. And it's good for kids with ADHD or autism. You can give it to them and without any side effects.
Nice.
Great. That sounds good to me. That was very informative.
Thanks for the call, Rebecca. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye.
We got another super chat from Mr. Juan Gonzalez, $20 super chat. Appreciate you, my man. One more question. What is your opinion on Nutrilite, vitamins, and supplements from anyone? Amway? Okay.
Well, vitamins, in my opinion, are vitamins.
Vitamins are vitamins, Holmes.
Yes. And as a matter of fact, full disclosure, I don't sell vitamins.
I was waiting for you to bring out the packet. But while we're on the subject, I've got the Gabriel vitamin pack right here.
And I deliberately don't sell them.
Okay.
So that I can, with a clear conscience, say, hey, you need vitamin B3. And I'm not trying to sell you vitamin B3. I say, you go to Walmart, go to Costco, go to Amazon. It doesn't matter. Just get vitamins. Get them in your body.
My wife's going to be upset at me tonight. You know why? Because I'm going to say, hey, I need some vitamins. She's always trying to give me vitamins, and I'm always telling her no.
Well, let me tell you why if anyone needs them. If you work in a job where you're perspiring all day long.
Oh, that's me.
Yeah. When you're perspiring, you're sweating. It's not just salt or sodium. If you wear a baseball cap or something, it's all white and chalky inside.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's a whole soup of minerals. And when you're deficient in minerals, you're going to start having issues. Your ligaments are going to start breaking down. Your knee feels out of whack.
Yeah, we're getting old, man. I start feeling this thing.
Yeah.
Nice.
So you got to put those vitamins back in.
Hey, Mr. Chavez, what do I talk to your agent over here? How do we get you to come on the platform at least like once a month? Whenever you got free time to sit here, not even with me on the table, you sit here, you take phone calls, and you educate the community because they love this stuff.
Well, I would love to. Maybe we can do it once a month, and that way you can promote it, let people know,
yes,
so
and
they can have their questions ready, and I'll be happy to.
Oh man, what you think about that? Oh, he's gonna tell me. I don't know. We got to negotiate this behind the scenes.
Yeah, talk to my agent. I'll have my people contact your people.
there you go. So now, why do you do this? Like
Passion.
what?
Passion.
Okay.
Passion. I love pointing people in the right direction. I don't charge. People call me. I'll stay on the phone with them for maybe an hour or two. At the end of the call, people say, damn, how come my doctor never told me this?
Right.
I get that all the time. Or the best part, when they call me back 3 months later, 6 months later, they say, oh my God, I feel like I'm 25 again. Or my child is back to normal because they were dealing with anxiety. You know, I'm talking debilitating anxiety. Where they just couldn't function, and now they're back to normal because a lot of it is nutritional, by the way.
Bet.
So yeah, so it just, to me, that's my recompense, getting that feedback.
Absolutely. Now, I'm sure that your brother passing had a lot to do with it when we spoke at the beginning. Now, and I can having a brother that passed away, I can guarantee you that he's looking down and he's very proud of you of what you're doing, man. I appreciate you coming on. I don't want to keep going with this because I want you to come back. Okay. I want you to come back. Now, do you do any social media or anything like that, or? No. Look at that, man. We got a fresh fish in the house over here, man. But that's a good thing, though.
Not even Facebook, brother. I gave up Facebook years ago because I figured it was taking too much of my time.
Yeah, you're right, man. Then all the hyenas trying to get at you, and your wife going to choke you out. We'll say that for Gabriel After Dark, man.
There you go.
Hey, people, I really hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. I got educated beyond words, and I'm sure there's much more that we're going to learn from Mr. Gabriel. So you want to go there, give your shout outs, your daughter, whatever you got.
Okay. My family, love you. Couldn't do this without you. And one more thing, brother. If anybody calls you to the mat and says, man, that guy's full of crap, I got the receipts.
No, I got you, baby.
Okay.
No, and
we got the research.
And you can come back and say, here, you want to run? Let's run it. With that, people, we're out. Make sure like, share, subscribe, and let everybody know that Mr. Gabriel's